Hi everyone, this is just to kind of help you with the searching process and using the eLibrary of Minnesota's and doing Boolean searches and all of that. So hopefully this is kind of helpful as you go through. So as we stated before, we want you to use the eLibrary of Minnesota resources. If you do Google searches, a lot of times you're not 100% sure of where that information is coming from, if it is a scholarly, credible source that you would want to use in an academic setting. That's why we say this is easy, it's free, and easy for you to use. So I've already gotten through eLibrary and went into student research. That was the button I originally pushed, and then clicked on the tab, but that is high school. We had you look around on Galen context with high school. One thing that we stressed with our last research paper, we talked about explore a teens. That's another option that you can feel free to use. Points of View Reference Center is another one that we've used for various different classes. It's a great resource. It talks about all different sides, which we want you to do. So please make sure that you're going through that. Now, as we've already gone through the Galen context a little bit, I'm going to go through the Points of View Reference Center, just so then you can kind of see how this is helpful to you as you go through. I'm going to be using the previous example that I had created. This is that same document that I used in the previous video about narrowing down a research topic. One thing to kind of keep in mind, I can use these words, these phrases, as I'm putting together a search. Sorry, my internet is incredibly slow. So with that, when you get here, notice how you can browse by category, go through all of that. Those are options for you. Another thing is to go through and enter in as you go. So either way it works. Most of you probably know how to go through all of this and find every piece of information. Feel free to use that. But I'm going to show you about how to use this advanced search option in case you're kind of wondering how to go about doing that, why we were having you highlight and underline certain words and phrases that you could possibly use. So as I go in here, notice how it automatically goes to the search mode, Boolean, and phrase. Now, if you need recaps, one thing to do is just all you have to do is go back on to Schoology. In our April 27th to May 1st folder, you will find a Boolean search help explanation. And this is exactly what was on the Nearpod, kind of talked about breaking it down. It's just a PDF that can help you about how you go about using these particular words and phrases. And so these tips are very helpful. You can use the word and to make sure you're capitalizing it, or not, just to kind of narrow down what you are searching for. And this one is just saying, hey, I need to have the root word of cat. Notice I have cats, catwoman, catatonic. So that's all there. Another one is if you're using phrases, putting that together. So just kind of use those to the best of your ability as you're going through. But you have Boolean, the Boolean or the phrase option. Another thing is you want to make sure that it does say full text. You can look for years. And so in my previous document, I said I only wanted 2015 to 2020. So I would want to indicate that in my search. Now, other things you can look for is the publication type. You could do all, but if there's certain ones that you're kind of looking for, ones that you feel more comfortable using as a source, you feel like it is more user-friendly for you. Some people just like newspapers better. Some people are like, I don't want a book. Keep in mind, if you do come across books and you're like, I like some of the information, but I don't want to have to read all of it, you do not need to read an entire book for this paper. A lot of times with books, you get a table of contents, and you can sit there and try and find those particular pages that are in relationship to what you're looking for. Just know that there's a lot of options out there as you go through, as you try and look for different things. If you ever see something that says abstract, in case you're wondering, abstract is just basically a fancy way of saying it's just a summary of what that entails. Another thing is you can look at Lexile ranges. If you know anything about Lexile ranges or do a Google search, you can check for that. And then there's other options. I always like to do PDF full text, especially if you have slow internet like myself. I don't always have the greatest response time. So if I can get a PDF, then I can copy that into a Google Drive. And then I can save that and then use it when my internet is not working or if it's down. It's a great, nice addition to that. But as I go through my Google, or not my Google search, my Boolean search, I would just go back and kind of look at those words that I were putting together. So social impact, and I'm going to type that in there, and then process. So one thing that is helpful is putting those parentheses around that particular one. So if I don't have it in there, it doesn't always work. Then as I would press the search, depending on how my internet's gonna work, it'll eventually pop up some options. And sometimes if you have too many words, it's not going to come up with an result. Notice how it still kind of give you some options as you go through. So kind of keep that in mind as you're going through. So I could also do process plus United States and eventually maybe something will pop up. And so one thing that you have to realize is don't get frustrated right away. You need to be willing to play around with different words, different phrasing, make it shorter, make it longer, whatever it may be. And as you go through, you're just going to want to try and find something that relates and makes sense. Do not sit there and be like, oh, I'm going to write my whole entire research question in here and think that that will end well. Make sure you're just using words, phrases, trying to put them together as you go through. Other things to kind of keep in mind, if you go into a source, eventually it will give you the information. It'll give you what they call an abstract. They'll let you know what it is about. As I said, the PDF full text option is always great because then you can eventually pop this up. And then you can see all of this information. And so you kind of want to read through and see if this is a viable option for you. Is this something that you want to use? If you come across something and you say, yes, this is of interest to me, you can sit here and download and get it downloaded directly to your particular desktop. You could also save it to your Google Drive. Notice how a lot of the databases will have these handy dandy little side tools. So just play around with it. Be willing to try things out. And if you come across something and you're struggling and it's not working out well for you, you just need to contact your teacher. Let us know that you are struggling and we will help you out.